Hey guys, welcome to The Strong Young Man. Your bad habits come from repeated bad behaviours. Bad behaviours keep repeating because you have no discipline, or the system that you have implemented is insufficient to overcome temptation. When you have a moment of weakness, you will fall as far as the systems that you have set in place for yourself. If your system allows you to free fall into a bad habit, then you will do so at the next moment of weakness. If you have a system that makes it really difficult to perform a behaviour, then it is highly unlikely that you'll make a habit of it. Today I'm going to introduce the Fogg behaviour model and explain how you can manipulate it to form good habits and kick bad habits. The Fogg behaviour model has three elements of behaviour: motivation, ability, and prompt. The desired behaviour will occur when all three come together at the same time. This graph represents their relationship to each other. This illustration will help you understand why you may not be performing good habits and why you are unable to kick your bad habits. Understanding and manipulating the fluctuation in motivation and ability, combined with the strategic implementation of prompts, is key to reinforcing good behaviour and eliminating bad behaviour. On the vertical axis is motivation, your desire to perform the behaviour from low to high. On the horizontal axis is ability, your capacity to perform the behaviour from hard to easy. Prompt is the cue to perform the behaviour. For the mathematicians out there, B equals M plus A all multiplied by P. Any behaviour will occur when prompted, provided sufficient motivation and ability is present to take you above the action line on the graph. Using an example of answering a ringing phone, this action will be performed when prompted if you are motivated and able enough such that the addition takes you above the action line. Factors that affect your motivation to answer a ringing phone include how much energy you have to speak on the phone, how important the caller is to you, how much satisfaction you get from speaking on the phone, what you can gain from the person ringing you, whether you are getting paid to talk on the phone or not, and the negative consequences of not answering the phone. Factors that affect your ability to answer a ringing phone include whether you have a hand available to answer the phone, whether the phone is close enough to you, whether the phone has sufficient charge, whether you're already on a call or engaged in another conversation, and whether you have enough time to answer the phone. No behaviour will ever occur without a prompt, no matter how much motivation and ability you have. The prompt should be noticeable and occur at the right time. If you don't hear, see, or feel the phone ringing, then you will not answer it. Your motivation and ability are always in flux, but a prompt is binary. It's either present or it's not. Forming good habits. Good habits are formed by consistently performing good behaviour. To perform good behaviour, you'll need to do the following. Maximise your motivation to perform the desired behaviour. Make sure the desired behaviour is challenging but easy enough so that it is above the action line. Ensure the prompt to do said behaviour is noticeable and occurs at the right time. Unfortunately, there isn't much you can do to increase your motivation to do something. Motivation is intrinsic, and the only way that you can improve your motivational drive is to shift your time perspective from now to later. Play up the long-term rewards of any behaviour. Good behaviours are going to be more immediately uncomfortable, but better for you long-term. Focus on that long-term benefit more than the short-term discomfort, and you'll improve your position on the motivational axis. If the long-term outcomes aren't apparent, do some research to find them. Do anything you have to do to get you to see the end result of your behaviour. This technique is hard and it goes against our evolved psychology. Humans have a tendency to evaluate costs and benefits more highly in the near term than in the future. Economists call this behaviour hyperbolic discounting. Our brains have evolved through natural selection to prioritise immediate dangers and rewards more than future dangers and rewards. Organisms that treated immediate dangers and rewards more urgent than dangers or rewards looming in the future have a better chance to survive and reproduce. Although hard, this strategy, like anything well practiced, will improve over time. Cultivating this ability is the ultimate weapon in developing good habits. This is what it means to be disciplined. To those who haven't mastered their self-discipline, you'll actually find that motivation is the most unreliable element of the Fogg behaviour model. While you may be able to ride motivational waves from time to time, if you don't cultivate your discipline, you won't be able to sustain motivation long term. You are never able to deliberately select the days that you are highly motivated. If you want to perform the desired behaviour consistently, then you'll need to cultivate your discipline. Until you can do this, the best strategy is to manipulate the most reliable element in the Fogg behaviour model, ability. In order to maximise your ability to perform the desired behaviour, you need to make it as easy and convenient as possible. There are several ways to do this. Firstly, you can break down the desired behaviour into smaller versions or increments. For example, rather than go to gym for 1 hour per day, aim to go to gym for a 10-minute workout. Going to the gym for 1 hour a day is made much easier by reducing the commitment to a 10-minute workout. The reduction in effort required brings you higher on the ability axis, and if correctly selected, this will bring you above the action line. The reduction in effort should be targeted in a way that brings the desired behaviour into the action state of the curve. To determine this value, ask yourself, how much would I have to reduce this behaviour to reliably perform it on my low motivational days? Start with that number and work up from there. The easier the behaviour is to do, the more likely it is to be repeated. The more it is repeated, the easier the behaviour becomes, and the more likely it is to be repeated. This means that it moves higher on the ability axis every time it is done. This is how habits are formed. That which we persist in doing becomes easy for us to do, not that the nature of the thing has changed, but our power to do so is increased. Ralph Waldo Emerson. As you make the desired behaviour easier to do, you can begin to increase the volume of the desired behaviour in increments that suit your motivation. Eventually, the desired behaviour will be fully unlocked, and the habit will be formed. To maintain this desired behaviour, it is essential that you remain above the action line the entire time. Increase your ability to do the desired behaviour until the routine brings down the effort required. This logical process is why you can make very difficult habits easier to do over time. Often enough, by starting small, you will allow yourself to procure momentum. This may help you push yourself a little further, especially on the days that you are highly motivated. The second strategy you can employ is to reduce the resistance required to overcome the desired behaviour. When you are struggling to perform the desired behaviour, you'll often manufacture excuses that rationalise your conduct. On your road to forming good habits, you must do everything you can to eliminate potential roadblocks that may cause you to excuse yourself from good behaviours. Going to the gym can be hard, let alone all the other resistances associated with it. Plan ahead and don't allow yourself any excuses. Make sure you have fresh clothes available, your gym bag is packed, transport to the gym is sorted, and anything else that may cause you to bypass the gym is taken care of. Applying this concept to all desired behaviours will reduce the resistance that you face in performing that behaviour. The third strategy you can use is to increase your skills or resources so that you are more able to do the desired behaviour. If the desired behaviour frustrates you, then it will not become a habit. Make sure you have the right resources and tools to make the behaviour desirable. This includes the right clothes to make going to the gym exciting, the right sharp knives and Tupperware for healthy meal preparation, and the right information or education to ensure that you understand how to perform the desired behaviour. Finally, consider that motivational energy bursts will come from time to time. When motivation surges, you can do hard behaviours. Learn to use this to your advantage. When you have a motivational surge, tackle a really difficult behaviour that you would not normally be able to do. A surge in motivation will allow you to tackle a really difficult behaviour while still remaining above the action line. Once you have done the habit once, it will move higher on the ability axis, and it will become easier to do on normal days. Motivation will vary, but the ability becomes much easier with practice because it becomes more automatic. This concept can be used to increase your efficiency. When you're on a motivational burst, prioritise tasks that benefit from higher levels of efficiency. As an example, don't waste your period of high motivation cleaning the house. You become limited by the physical efficiency of your body. Use this motivational surge to tackle a problem or a task that is limited by cognitive ability, as this is highly scalable during this time. Understand that motivation and ability in combination will dictate whether a behaviour will occur. The low ability to go to the gym can be overcome at a time where you have a high level of motivation. Similarly, a high ability to go to the gym can overcome a low level of motivation. These elements work together for the desired behaviour to occur. If one is weak, the other needs to be strong in order to get it to happen. The amount you have of one affects the amount you need of the other. Highly motivated and energetic people will find it easier to perform a good behaviour. But remember, no behaviour will occur without a prompt. Prompts are the third element of the Fogg behaviour model, and they are crucial to getting you to do a behaviour that you already want to do. Designing a good prompt and determining where that prompt will fit in your routine is key to manipulating prompts to form good behaviour. Be strategic in how you ensure you are prompted. When planning a strategic prompt, ask yourself, what would remind me to initiate a certain behaviour at the most suitable moment? Identifying this and taking a mental note is often all you'll need to do to prompt yourself. Over the last 2 years, I've lost 3 pairs of Apple AirPods to the washing machine. I have plenty of motivation to make sure they are out of my pocket before they go in the wash. About $400 worth of motivation. I also have the ability to remove them out of my pocket. Unfortunately, I had absolutely no prompt. Until now. AirPods everywhere alerting me to the fact that I need to check that I have my AirPods on me before I put clothes in the machine, detergent in the machine, and finally before I press the button on the machine. The best prompts to use are action prompts. An action prompt is a behaviour that you already do that you can use to remind yourself to do a new action that you want to cultivate. Some of my favourite action prompts are leaving things in front of the door so that I don't forget them as I leave, leaving things near car keys so that I won't forget them when I leave, storing things that I use all at the same time in one area of the house, and using a routine to form behaviour sequences where the previous behaviour prompts the next behaviour. Behaviour sequences are by far the most effective way to ensure the desired behaviour is performed. Allow me to walk you through a behaviour sequence that I implemented years ago that ensures that I take my supplements every morning. When I wake up, the first thing I do is I go to my charging station, pick up my phone and check my schedule. Then I grab a drink from the fridge, all in the same area, and have my morning cocktail, also in the same area. See episode 25 for more details on that. I use the water to take my daily vitamins. Mapped out, the behaviour sequence reads, when I wake up, I go to my phone, which prompts me to drink water, which prompts me to take my supplements. 12 months ago, I added another behaviour to this sequence that effectively helped me to stop murdering my plants. I kept killing my plants by either overwatering them or underwatering them. I love my plants. I want to water them. It's easy to water them. Yet I neglected to water them once a week. After many failed attempts, I finally implemented a strategy that kept my plants alive. To do this, I utilised my morning behaviour sequence and linked my weekly plant hydration and routine nutrient uptake with my own. On Saturday mornings, I consume the last of the supplements for the week, and the weekly redispensing is linked to watering my plants. This is the essence of behaviour sequences. Strategically link the desired behaviour to an already formed habit to ensure you remember it. This will accelerate the formation of the new habit. Mornings are the most reliable time of day to implement a new behaviour. This is because morning routines are the most rigid. Even the disorganised tend to do things in the same order most mornings. Kicking bad habits. Letting bad behaviours creep into your routine forms bad habits. Kicking bad habits is so much easier than forming good habits. It is much easier to not do something than to do something. This is because inaction is the default state, and action requires effort, even for the little things. To kick a bad habit, you need to do the following. Maximise your motivation to not do the undesirable behaviour. Make the undesired behaviour very difficult to do so that it falls below the action line. Remove, avoid, or ignore the prompt. Motivating yourself to not perform the undesired behaviour is much the same as motivating yourself to perform desired behaviours. Bad behaviours are going to provide you with immediate comfort, but cause you long-term problems. Focus more on the long-term consequences than the short-term rewards. By focusing on the long-term consequences of the undesired behaviour, you will be able to reduce your tendency to secure the immediate reward. Also understand that motivation to do undesired behaviours can increase if you subject yourself to peer pressure. Pressuring someone to perform a negative behaviour is a terrible way to treat someone you care about. You must be aware of people like this and prepare your counter response in advance. If you're being constantly pressured by those close to you to cultivate behaviours that you detest, then you need to distance yourself from these people. People who don't really care about you, who see you doing well, can't handle your success. They will attempt to bring you down to their level. Every bad habit starts with a first time, and you do not want this to occur. To minimise your ability to do the bad behaviour, then you need to make the behaviour as difficult as possible to do. Make it physically hard, more expensive, more unpleasant, or mentally exhausting. Humans are inherently lazy creatures, and we can exploit this tendency to root out bad habits. If you make the bad habit really hard to do, then your laziness will take over and prevent you from doing it, as long as your motivation to do the negative behaviour doesn't take you over the action line. Some examples of this are not having junk in the house, so when you crave it, you need to get in your car and drive to the store. If you watch too much porn, you can have someone password protect the websites for you. If you overuse social media, embed the application in a folder within a folder so that it takes more effort to open, or delete the app altogether. If you are smart about it, most of the time the ability to do the undesired behaviour will be so low that it will remain below the action line. Even when prompted, you will not do it. You must be aware of how much motivation you have on a day-to-day basis. This technique works really well for people with low motivation. They can really take advantage of their lazy tendencies in order to prevent them doing undesired behaviour. Another strategy that you can implement is to replace the undesired behaviour with a good or a neutral behaviour. If I smell cigarette smoke, then I will chew gum. This works twice as well if you can replace the undesired behaviour with something that conflicts with what you want to do. You cannot chew gum and smoke at the same time. The most effective way to kick a bad habit is to manipulate the prompt. In order of effectiveness, you should aim to remove the prompt, avoid the prompt, or ignore the prompt. What are your bad habits, and what are the prompts that initiate the desire to perform them? Remove the prompt to prevent the undesired behaviour. Do you see junk food in the cupboard as you walk past? Close the cupboard, or put it on the top shelf. Do you smell secondhand smoke and desire a cigarette? Don't associate with smokers. Do you see a sexy pop-up and immediately reach for your crotch? Block these pop-ups. Do you spend too much time on social media? Turn off notifications. To bring it all together, you must understand that all habits can be grouped into two categories. Uphill habits, which require ongoing attention to maintain, but are easy to stop, and downhill habits, which are easy to maintain, but difficult to stop. Learn to determine the resistance within a habit to select the optimal protocol. Stacking these techniques on top of each other will have a multiplication effect that will put you in the best position to form good habits and kick bad habits. An important thing to note before the conclusion of today's episode. As mentioned previously, motivation is always in flux and relies on a lot of external factors. Something that is common amongst the elite and the hyper-successful is that you will never catch them saying that they have no motivation to do X, Y, or Z. This is not because they always have motivation. It's because they never use a lack of motivation as an excuse for their behaviour. They have cultivated their discipline to always overcome any lack of motivation. They've trained their brains to do anything that they command themselves to do. Ultimate discipline will override a lack of motivation every single time. It is those who consistently do what they don't want to do when they are lacking the motivation to do it that will achieve ultimate success in any domain. If you haven't unlocked this level of discipline yet, and most people haven't, then use the Fogg behaviour model to get the ball rolling. Over time, your goal should be to cultivate your discipline to override any lack of motivation that you might have. The best way to do this is to be disciplined in anything that you can, starting small. Always be pushing the application of your discipline, and over time, you'll build this into your character. Do not practice anything that you don't want to become, not even once. Each time a behaviour is performed, your ability to repeat it also becomes higher, and eventually it becomes automatic. Myelin, the fatty material that wraps around the nerve pathways, is responsible for conducting the impulses between the brain and different parts of the body. Every time an action is performed, these neurological circuits grow stronger, making the impulses more automatic over time. What you do repeatedly will become a solid structure in your brain. It will become easy to do every time you repeat it until it becomes automatic. Use this to your advantage. Ensure your energy is channeled into cultivating your discipline while you are young, to ensure you make your good habits automatic as you age. Throughout your life, you'll come across people who make negative behaviours easier to do. These people are known as enablers, and their bad habits are infectious. Avoid them if you can. Do not do a behaviour that you detest, and don't associate with people who have behaviours that you despise. Associate with them at your own risk. There will come a time where you give in to the temptation that they present to you, especially at times of low motivation. If you give in to temptations, the internal argument wins against your willpower. If the habit makes you immediately happy, you'll get a dopamine hit, which also makes you more likely to repeat that bad behaviour. Every time you let the internal argument win, the habit grows bigger and bigger. Every time you defeat it, it shrinks smaller and smaller. Here is a final thought from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Sow a thought and you reap an action. Sow an act and you reap a habit. Sow a habit and you reap a character. Sow a character and you reap a destiny. Thanks for watching today's episode. In episode 71, I'll go through the best methods to swiftly terminate toxic friendships. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when it drops. Catch you then.